From the streets of Bahrain all the way up to the temples in Afterlife, we want to hear your nerd shout. And today, we're shouting about S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh yeah.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Becker here with the rest of the nerdSHOUT team, and while I deal with some of S.H.I.E.L.D's red tape, why don't we find out who they are?
Hey guys, it's Demetris Hartman. Welcome back to nerdSHOUT. Let's talk about episode 17, because it's pretty great.
Do you not know who we are yet? I'm Mark Cirillo. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, it's Keyla Teixeira. It's really great to be back.
Thank you guys, and welcome to our episode 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After Show, right here on nerdSHOUT. Ding.
But we are reviewing episode 17
of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I thought was a wonderful episode. I loved this episode.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was really good. It progressed the story really well, and we got to know so much.
I know. So the first thing I want to talk about, the very, very first thing I want to talk about before we dive into the two big moments of this episode is I want to talk about Raina a little bit. We didn't talk about her a lot last episode, and there was a beautiful scene between her and Skye. I was talking to a couple people online about, they're two sides of the same coin, and that's the wonderful thing about it. And we get to see some interesting things from Raina this episode, and we get to learn about what her gift may be. Yeah. So I want to know, what do you guys think of Raina? Because there's an interesting question. Oh, look, I'm a minute in, and I'm already on the Twitter box. All right.
Let's hit us with that question.
All right. It's right here. Actually, you know what? I liked when we did this a couple weeks ago. I feel like I like sharing. So, Demetri or Mark, I handed it to Demetri first. It's the one right there in the middle.
It's fine.
Oh, Linda Wynn says, did you see that change in Raina during her conversation with Gordon? What's her new plan?
There was definitely a moment.
I was like, that was an interesting shift.
Because we know that Raina is always using situations to her advantage.
Yeah.
Yes.
What advantage is she going for?
Well, I mean...
Well, I think it's that she's gonna... yeah, that's actually good, because a lot of what she used to do was seduce people. That's gonna be harder now.
Yeah, she hasn't got those looks anymore.
I mean, I don't know. I think every once in a while some of us think, I could date a porcupine.
Why not? But the thing is, like, is she gonna learn how to retract, for example, the thorns? What's gonna happen with her in the future? What
something she can do in the comic book?
Have? Well,
She's not in the comic
she's
book,
not
really.
really in the comic book.
She's not that? Because I've seen this character in the comics.
Well, similar
She's not.
looking.
She's neither. So this is the thing. She feels like kind of an amalgam of many different
Of the
characters.
character Raina.
Yeah, and you have. Yeah, the character Raina, but there's also another character that is an Inhuman. Her name is Triclops. After her Pterogenesis process, she grew a third eye, on her forehead, which is, one of the sacred chakras or whatever, if you will. But she has the ability to see the future. She's a clairvoyant, which is what Raina turned into. It's so awesome.
It's a circle.
She turned into a clairvoyant. Yes. And yes, it's all literally connected. They managed to connect the Bahrain story and this story of the clairvoyant in this, more in the Bahrain later on. But this is what I'm really interested that if she is starting to feel that people are like that, if she is starting to realize maybe her own powers, maybe that's why she kind of changed her attitude. Maybe she either saw a vision or in her nightmares, in her dreams, whatever it is that she's having, she has a sense of reading people as well. Mm-hmm. Or reading into their minds, reading into their souls. Maybe that was what also caused her turn towards Gordon later on. That's kind of what I'm thinking about.
It's a very distinct image, because you have Gordon on his knee holding a book up at her.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't thought about that. That could be something that she saw.
Yeah.
Because she's seen Skye and Cal and the bouquet of daisies. And it seems so random to me, like, I'm down here with a book, and you don't get to find out what the book is. And that's what I was waiting for. Like, this is the book that was given to me when I went through this. And maybe that's implied, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but at the same time, it is such a distinct image, and I like that it may be that she's seen that before.
Yeah.
And she realizes, oh,
perhaps something is...
Yeah.
Maybe this is my gift.
Yeah.
Huh.
You know, maybe that just triggered it because she realized that that's the moment.
That could be,
that happened. And, you know, like, that's what I'm interested in. Because if she says that, you know, her nightmares are so terrifying, what are her dreams of the future? Yeah. What if she's, like, envisioning what the Civil War is going to be like? What if she's envisioning what Infinity War is going to be like, you know? Mm-hmm. What is she seeing so far into the future?
I know.
Anyway, it's really exciting, and hopefully they're going to be able to connect a lot of this stuff with even Age of Ultron. What if that's it? What if she's envisioning the Age of Ultron? Yes. It's going to be so badass.
I know.
Oh, yeah, what if those are what the nightmares are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's making me giddy.
What if the nightmares are also predictions of the future, and so she sees both?
Yeah. Although she talks about being hunted, which she could be hunted, because they did that to Skye.
She has been hunted.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's subconscious. Like, she's been hunted, but what if she's gonna be again?
That's where I went initially, too, when she said it.
Okay, I didn't think about this.
I feel she's going to run away.
Symbolic.
Well,
this is what instead of actual.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It feels like, maybe, because it feels like she's going more in an actual direction in the way that her dreams are realized. Exactly. I feel that maybe she's going to run away from afterlife.
Yeah, probably.
And that's what's going to happen, that she might, just spite the genetic council, and they're going to hunt her down. But I want us to go, I don't know if you want to talk about this next, the bunker with all
before we do that, we need to talk to Keyla.
Yes, absolutely.
Keyla,
absolutely.
What is your thoughts on Raina, where she's going, her powers?
Tell us.
I think I'm really glad we're actually talking about Raina a little bit more this week. Raina's character has definitely had such a dramatic change, and I really do love Gordon and Raina's relationship. Is just it's really fascinating, and I really hope that he is able to help her, because she is undergoing this change physically and mentally. I think she's really trying to adjust to this new person that she kind of has to be after like everything that's happened to her. She really does have to make a change. Whether or not it's for the better, I don't know, especially with the reveal that she is now a clairvoyant. And she technically knows Skye's secret and Skye's mother, their entire secret, that they're a family, they're all related, which is bad. According to Jiaying, they needed to keep this a secret, and we kind of found out why, because of the fact of the flashback in this episode, the little girl and her mother, and so we found out why, in a way that it's not okay when to have related, how do I say this, related, somebody who's related to you, like a family or something, all together, and Jiaying told Skye to keep this a secret. But now that Raina knows this secret, or she's gonna put the two and two together in the upcoming episodes, because she just thinks it was just a terrible nightmare or something. What if Raina goes ahead and tattletales or snitches on Skye and Jiaying to the Genetic Council, purely to get Skye kicked out and her family kicked out of Afterlife? I feel like that is something that Raina would do, because Raina's looking out for Raina. I've always said this. And I think Raina will take any opportunity to throw Skye under the bus and her family now. So I do believe that Raina will use this information against them, being maybe they go to, I said Genetic Council earlier, but we haven't even gotten confirmation that the Elders are the Genetic Council, although I do think so. So what if Raina just takes this newfound information to the Elders? I think she's definitely, it's a possibility. I definitely do believe so. But what do you guys think?
I love that theory, Keyla. I absolutely adore that theory, because, that makes total sense. If she is a clairvoyant, maybe her capacities mean that she can read into people's minds and understand what happened in Bahrain, link all these things together, go to the council, tell them what's up, and then Skye and her mom is hunted. And then she gets with, Cal. Maybe they all just run away from there, which makes total sense. Keyla, you're a genius.
That's a great theory and a really good storyline. If they don't do it, you're like,
I also definitely see we were all like, oh, Lincoln and Skye, they're gonna get together and it'll be beautiful. I think he's into Raina now.
He's more fascinated by Raina.
He's fascinated by. I feel like there's a better connection between him and Raina than there is between he and Skye. Although that's the love triangle, I think, more than Skye Ward Lincoln is Lincoln, Raina, and Skye.
Because that's what Raina needs. More reasons to
Hate
envy
Skye.
and hate Skye.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my god. But it looks like she like Skye always attracts like very dysfunctional kind of relationships. That the guys are interested in her, but it's kind of a mess every
Because
time.
she's dysfunctional.
Yeah.
You know, like
She doesn't even know how old she is, guys.
Yeah, I know.
I was like,
revealed later
there's
on.
a lot of foster stories.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot.
I
That's
know.
a lot of houses.
But since it's come up now a couple times, let's talk about the big part of this episode is Bahrain.
Yep.
We finally get to see why the Cavalry is called that.
Which was so great.
I know.
It was like well earned.
She was fantastic.
That,
That was a really great
That-
performance too. Like all of it.
oh my god.
Great performance, painful.
Painful. Oh my, I felt so, and like, I always feel for these guys, and especially May and Coulson, because I love them so very, very much. But just that, making that choice is so it's so right to me. Just like, I get it now. I knew she had to do something rough, and I knew she had to make a call that nobody else would have done. But having to kill a little girl,
Especially after she
That
was
she
thinking
tried to help and couldn't help.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that was a thing that changed everything for her because she was also talking with her husband before she went on the mission.
well,
that
which was amazing.
They want to
'cause,
start a family.
I mean,
Yeah.
and then you see the shift. That was great. All those
Uh-huh.
where you saw what she was like.
I love
before.
seeing like Happy
amazing.
Family May.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart shattered.
She was so domestic.
Now here's the
she was like the best of both worlds, and now
Yeah.
she's just in I guess the gray area, if you will, with like a big dark.
But I love giving her that deep,
Yeah. And
yeah.
here's what makes me so excited about it is because now she knows about Project Theta, and we'll dive into Project Theta here in a
Right,
minute.
yeah.
But she knows that there is theoretically something that Coulson has been up to. We saw that she didn't realize that he was working with Deathlock, and all of that stuff, and it's got to be difficult because he was there for her at her lowest point.
Yeah, he supported
When her
through
life
that moment.
absolutely crumbled and died, and she had to rebuild it.
Yeah.
And you can see that she wants to be there for him, but how much do you think she's gonna give him leeway? She's still saying right now, if he's doing this, there's a good reason behind it. We got to figure out the reason.
But the real shield is really getting to her.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, they're getting under her skin, and Simmons is starting to turn as well.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Well, because what they're saying makes sense and everything's lining up. So of course it's gonna
so what's
change.
what's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah.
I was wondering if maybe but it doesn't really line up that it was like the alien inside of like he was doing stuff without even knowing he was doing it, or it was like
Coulson,
taking
you mean?
control, like
Oh.
the sort of alien influence in his. But I don't think it.
Yeah,
because why would he keep all of it? Like
the
it's
alien
just
blood.
so
No,
interesting.
I think that he's just still in communication with Nick Fury in
Yeah.
some sort of way.
Before we
and then it had to do
dive
with
too
that.
Continue
much
that mission.
Before we dive too much into that, though, May's gonna find stuff out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And do we think that we're gonna see Agent May head Real Shield? Like not head it, like lead it, but
Or
like
like
go
the
in that
Secret
direction?
Warriors or
Or do we think that I don't know.
she's definitely going to be bringing the bases together. She's going to be using the information. She's probably going to travel to these locations, I think, in some sort of way. But
and he's with Andrew is the hard part for her. Like he's
that
visited
he's with her
ex.
with her ex-husband. That's true. And I always thought, like, even when I saw him and he left for a reason. Like, I think that he still loves her.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly,
I mean, he
and
was
that there might
torn
actually
apart.
not be another woman. That it was all a ploy to kind of move away in a different direction. So
to protect himself.
yeah, exactly. Well, to protect her, I think that's what it is,
Both.
and that's kind of like what Fury had been doing, keeping people in the dark to protect them, and also to protect himself.
Yeah.
'Cause he's like probably the most paranoid person in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
That's who Nick Fury is. Welcome to the furious world. But this is a direction that I'm really interested in seeing.
I just realized we called it the Furious World.
It went right by me, and I was like, oh.
Keyla is like dying. I want to hear her voice. I want to hear her.
Just happened.
All right, Keyla, since you're over there laughing inappropriately, what do you think about May? Where do you think her story's going? Do you think she'll stay pro Coulson, or is she going to end up pro Olmos? Even though his name is Gonzales on the show, but I like Edward James Olmos as a name.
Not jealous.
It's a great name.
You guys are ridiculous. Furious, really. With the flashbacks of this episode, I think that was like probably my favorite part of the entire episode was seeing that entire flashback, revealing why May is the way she is. It's really heartbreaking, and you really do understand. It makes complete sense. There's like I definitely don't doubt for a second that she definitely had she has reasons for the way she is now. I mean, before she went on that mission where she had to do that, where she had to put down that girl that went through the Terrigen Mist and was clearly evil, she was like mentally prepared to have kids with her then husband, and then she goes on this mission and she has to kill a kid. Like that's intense, and I would, if I had gone through the same thing she went through, I would definitely have taken a desk job as well. But she did find out like these secrets about Coulson this episode, and she didn't seem very happy with it. So what I'm hoping for, and I want this to happen, I want Coulson and May to have a deeper falling out. I would like them to just like because May is like running her separate team right now with Simmons, so I really would like to see a clear divide, maybe like a May versus Coulson thing, but that may be like a little repetitive, that storyline, that whole dynamic, maybe a little repetitive. Let me know what you guys think. I really do want to see like a falling out between both of them, where May is just, the more she uncovers about Coulson, because she was clearly not happy that Coulson met up with her husband. So I want that to happen. I think it might happen to an extent, but I don't know if it's going to be as much as I would like it to be.
See, Keyla, I enjoy what you're saying, but my issue is I don't want to rehash things we've already done. Yeah. And we've already had May versus Coulson.
Yeah.
I think...
It hasn't been as intense, though.
It hasn't been as intense, but, like, I don't know. It just... I want to see all of the new ways we can go with the characters instead of how can we make these guys not trust each other this week, you know?
I just think
but this is bigger, I feel like.
I guess, yeah.
Because it was so much that he kept hidden, and so it maybe is a bigger deal, which could be the initiate to, like, separate them for maybe that spin-off show, you know? Like
Here's what I'm thinking. So Bahrain shows us why May has such a distrust of people with powers. She's nervous about it because she saw what it can do to a little girl.
Right.
Like, having powers did that to a little girl.
Well, the thing was that she was
the
already corrupted.
little girl's relationship with her mother, like, really in a messed up way.
Yeah, exactly, because the girl was actually controlling her own mother.
Yeah.
There was already a dark seed, but Jia Ying already said in the beginning that she saw a darkness in this girl.
The kid,
Yes.
From the very beginning.
And then it drove her
That's
insane.
true.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, we
Like
can have any conversation, a giant conversation about our human, Hobbes versus Locke, human beings good versus evil. Exactly. But, like, just, it's an unfortunate thing, and it obviously shows us...
going to lead to civil war as well, which is really interesting.
That she has a distrust of powered people. Mm-hmm. Combining this and moving forward, Project Theta.
Yes.
Coulson's working with superpowered people theoretically.
He's continuing Fury's project, essentially.
Yeah, this is what I think. Okay, so we were watching it, and you said, oh, I think it's going to be Secret Warriors.
Yeah.
I think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. itself is headed towards Secret Warriors, and I had a thought that was echoed perfectly on the Twitter box. This one comes from @Faye_616, and she said... Or is it maybe an indication of Avengers Academy? Which is what I shouted at Demetris.
Yeah,
I was like, what if it's Avengers Academy? Because a lot of beds, a lot of people that he's searching out. I think there is an overlying idea that he's making an army, but the Phil Coulson we know isn't making an army, he's making a refuge.
He's creating this
and
bunker.
a school.
Because we can't have Xavier's Academy.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
not allowed. Not allowed.
So what if it is Avengers Academy? It would be very interesting, and it would fit in with a kind of like family-friendly environment that ABC tries to create.
Yeah.
I think that though
In
Secret
fact, the spin-off is going to be on ABC Family.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
But this is what I think. This is why I think though that the show would probably end up being called Secret Warriors because it's a much cooler name than Avengers Academy for a TV show.
But it has the
And then
Avengers brand.
That's true.
That's true.
But I feel that they could just connect those two, intersect them, because Skye can end up being the leader of these people because she is going to be the one who's officially trained at this point by Jai Ying.
This is the problem with that I see though. I know it's a spin-off series and it's spinning out of the
But there's
events.
no backdoor pilot in this season.
Yeah,
I
that's what's
don't
interesting.
believe that they're going to take the main cast away. The only
split
member,
them up? You don't
yeah,
think
the
they'll
only
split them
member of the main cast who I could see going on to do their own show would be Grant Ward, because he's got that almost Thunderbolts like team that he's building, which we're gonna learn more about next week.
Oh, yeah.
And like that's something I'm like. I love him, and I think where his character has gone is far more interesting than first season.
But he's
But
deviated so much.
It seems
from the rest of the
so.
team.
Yeah, it seems almost like now they've got him back together. They're getting him back together in a great way. But we've been without him for a good amount of
I
episodes.
was just gonna
this
say it
season.
seems very like clearly thought out that they've kept him separate.
Yeah.
well,
and
we
not
can
even
focus on
just
an
like we
anti-hero.
haven't even been seeing what he's up to.
Yeah, and
like, not even checking in.
and it may be that
So
he
he's
comes
becoming
back on
less-
board at the end of the season, and that's an
Right.
interesting arc for me that I would like to see.
Or this was the way to slowly sort of separate us from him so he can get his own show.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense actually.
Avengers Academy though is still a really cool idea.
And it does sound like a name that would be on ABC.
Yeah, Avengers Academy. I want to switch at Avengers
Sounds
Academy.
like super young kids.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting.
Oh man! Oh come on, man!
It's like a high school show.
Well, because if DC
I didn't
is
mean
doing
to
a
like
Teen
the Titans.
Titans,
Yeah.
if DC is doing a Teen Titans, then they might as well do something like that. I have a feeling that like we were introduced to another character like really briefly, but he was named. The character's name was Ethan, and this was something that kind of I linked together and I researched it a little bit. And there's one character that's called Ethan Edwards, and now like people who are like loving Skrulls and asking if Skrulls could be on the show. Ethan Edwards is actually a Skrull who was sent to Earth, and his backstory is exactly the same as Superman, which like is a nod kind of to DC. He was raised in a farm. He looked like a human being when he came down. The family were like so surprised, so they raised him and to be noble and good. And then he just kind of like starts to develop powers. What if they choose to, because we also have the Kree-Skrull War in a way referenced to previously in the season, what if this character who's good, he's young as well, could actually end up being a Skrull amongst the Inhumans and kind of introduce that Kree-Skrull War?
And
oh my
I
God,
love this
Kevin.
theory also though because for me that little scene stood out because
They made a
it
very
was like
solid
a
point of interest.
Yes,
sequitur,
exactly.
but they made it so clear to introduce this character that he has to be a bigger.
I'm gonna say this
Yeah.
because I want it to happen really bad.
That would be so much. It's just so cool.
I really want the spin-off show to be a version of Runaways.
Oh my God.
I forgot that I love Runaways more than I love most things, and I realized that there is a Skrull who joins the Runaways team.
Yes.
There's so many things in Runaways that like Avengers, and they go to, and some of them go to the Avengers Academy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So what if?
This is all linked.
What if this is our way? Because Kevin Feige has said he wants to do it, but there's not a good way to do it. I want to see the Runaways. I'm sorry. I need a moment. Kayla, what do you think about Project Theta? What it could mean for the spin-off?
Well, what if it's multiple spin-offs? What if they're going to take over TV
not tease
the
me!
same way they took over the movie theaters?
Kayla,
And it's going to be all Marvel.
They're
all
like,
the
DC
time,
is doing it,
all
let's do it as well.
entertainment. Yeah.
save me, Kayla!
Yeah, calm down, Kevin. It's gonna be okay. Runaways. I like all of the theories you guys mentioned. I really like Kevin's him wanting to see Runaways. I would like that as well, purely for the fact you said that there's a Skrull on the Runaways team. I can get Skrulls introduced into the MCU. And so one day I can finally get Secret Invasion, which I've been waiting for. And I'm still waiting for it. I think I've mentioned it I think I've mentioned Skrulls every single after show. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I want it to happen. So, yeah, that's all I gotta add. I don't really have much to add because you guys really just hit everything, hit every point there. The Runaways thing is that's the first time I'm hearing of it. Here with you three, and I like it. I like it a lot.
So I really love like the direction that came out of this conversation. Just like I'm so happy with it.
I've regained the majority of my faculties. The last thing I want to talk about is Skye and her mom.
Yeah.
And
very touching.
I love that scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of beauty in this, and she says at the end, "Have dinner with your dad, and then I'll send him away." Do you think that Cal's gonna stick around?
I just from off the bat, yeah. I
Yeah.
think so. Like there's no point.
He's such a batshit crazy wild card. Like I kind of love it. Yeah.
Skye doesn't know her birthday. I do. Yeah, it was so great. It was so great.
Which was great because also she like just knew how he was gonna react, and she wanted to give the because she already had told her.
Yeah,
but it was like
it was such a beautiful
Wells
like
at the seat, sits her down.
Yeah,
it was so great. It was like that was a beautiful moment of.
I love how well written
Your
it was.
dad really wanted to tell you, and they both fell into it, and it was just like, oh, and
it just shows that she still loves him in that way, or she loves who he was at least.
And so she keeps wanting to give him another chance.
And I
keeps
think
trying to bring that out of him, that kindness out of him every time.
he did build her back together.
he did physically
Which he
repair
did,
her.
yeah.
So my theory about this is I don't think Whitehall's dead.
Absolutely
I never
not.
have thought Whitehall is dead.
If it's only a
You
gunshot
said
that killed him,
I've said
when
that
we cover that episode.
Every episode since it started.
it's going to be the big reveal at the end of the season.
And I think it's going to drive Cal back to the, for lack of a better term,
The
dark side.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Star Wars hat. Because having Daisy and having his wife back has really done a lot to center him, it looks like.
Yeah.
And we know he's Mr. Hyde, and we know he's a genetic experiment, and I don't think at least that he did to himself, and I don't think that can stay that way forever.
I don't even think we've seen the full extent of his abilities even close to it.
I think Whitehall coming back, Whitehall doing something to Inhumans or Afterlife is going to set him back on a bad path.
See,
But what do you think his motivation will be?
For Whitehall?
No,
we both said
Skye's dad. Cal, yeah.
Well, this is what I think, okay? I think that Whitehall's going to come back with the Kraken armor, and the Kraken armor pretty much can destroy anything. This time, he's actually going to kill Skye's mom.
I could see that happening.
I see him actually killing and destroying Jai Ying, taking away
I want it to happen.
really sad.
She's really great.
She is great, and she's such a great actress.
And she was one of my favorite things from that other Joss Whedon show,
Dollhouse,
which I didn't have a lot of favorite things about that show, but she is one of them.
It was a good show. The thing is, she's made such a good impression just from like being in 2 episodes and the other episodes like barely saying a word.
She's so much of the history. Like even though she's only been in a few episodes, it feels like she was such a part of the world.
Also,
we've talked about her so much.
She was there in Bahrain, and like what the fans were saying, like it's all connected, and yes, it is.
Exactly.
Kayla's been saying it's all connected.
Yeah. Also, it is important to note that we need something to push Skye back.
Yeah,
we need something that's going to send Skye back to S.H.I.E.L.D.
running back
down the rabbit hole, if you will.
Because she found her family, and why would she leave that? Because she finally has it. I wouldn't blame her for not leaving that. I think that's great. And her mom dying, and her dad going full
Evil.
Mr. Hyde.
Yeah,
she's gonna have to, and I think that's an important thing for her as well, because she says it in this episode. I'd have a distrust of home. Every time I find a home, it goes away.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think her acceptance that this isn't home anymore because it will be taken from her, or just deciding that this isn't home and going back to the team is going to be a big point for her as a character.
Yeah, and it can drive a lot of what season 3 will be. Hopefully, I mean, we don't know if there's going to be a season 3, but fingers crossed.
Looks pretty good.
It's looking really good. They're doing a spin-off.
Exactly, but there's no backdoor pilot. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Well, I mean, because it hasn't been picked up. They have asked for a pilot. They haven't picked up the episode. So if they do a backdoor pilot, which was just going to throw off the momentum of the season,
right?
Then nothing comes from it. You'd be like, man, all those runaways showed up, and then we didn't get to see their story. Kevin's crying in a corner.
And also, backdoor pilots become weird for syndication.
Yeah,
like because it's 2 shows, and then you're like, how do you box it if they're beginning started on another show, and like, I don't know. I think of the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman when they had those box sets, and they just included every episode that they were both in on both box sets. But
Kayla, what is your reaction to Skye's mom, the possible future of her family,
and her moving a mountain?
It's like one earthquake.
It was such a beautiful scenes with Jiaying and Skye, and it was emotional too. I think when the reveal finally happened, when it finally clicked in Skye's head, that this is her mother. It was just really beautiful. It was a nice family reunion dinner. It was just nice. It made me warm inside. It warmed my heart. And but like Kevin said, Kevin and Demetri, I agree with both of you. Being that the theory that Whitehall's going to come back, and it would just be terrible and purely ironic if Whitehall just kills Jiaying, and this time kills her and her being dead, and just dead, flat out dead, no putting her back together, and then Cal going all supervillain again, because we haven't really seen Cal really freak out yet, so that would be awesome if that was the case. It wouldn't be awesome for her to die. It's really dark. It would just be nice to finally see Cal, who we know is Mr. Hyde, go berserk crazy. So Whitehall coming back as the Kraken and killing her would be really intense. And I hope it happens because it would make for some really good episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Would it be terrible? Yes, it will be. Absolutely terrible.
So there's a lot of cool stuff that could be coming down the pipe involving Skye and her family, and we want to know what your theories are. Mm-hmm. And while we're talking about your theories, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is going to you guys for topics. And one of our topics today are Nerd Shout Out, as I sometimes remember to call it.
Have to.
Comes from the Twitter box.
Speak it.
And this one, you know what? Mark, you haven't done one yet.
Yeah.
So you guys
I'm just going to rip it out of your hand.
Oh, whip it out.
Whoa. This is a different channel now.
Double entendres, baby.
This is from Candace Whipple, at Candace Whipple.
Oh, nice.
If you could be any Inhuman, which one would you guys choose?
Ooh. I know. I love ending on these ones that we can ask you guys as well.
Oh my god.
Captain Inhuman. Captain Inhuman? No, I'm calling you that. What is your...
Yeah, because you're the Inhumans guy.
Yeah,
you know
you're
all
Inhumans
of them,
dude.
and I know none of them.
And I know the Runaways.
I know Medusa.
For me,
that's it.
Oh my god.
I want to be Lockjaw. I know he's a dog. You don't know why.
That's why you asked me.
That's why I asked you.
But I
don't have a lot of experience in Inhumans. I haven't read very much of it.
Either.
But he's a dog, and he's empathic and teleports. I'm gonna be Lockjaw. I'm in.
I want it to be Lockjaw.
He's empathic and teleports. What if Gordon's Lockjaw? Sorry. I know Gordon's Gordon.
Gordon's Gordon. Hey dog, come here. No, that's terrible. I want to be Black Bolt.
You want to be King of the Inhumans?
But the thing is, I want to be a combination between Black Bolt and Lockjaw. But they're they go hand in hand because Lockjaw is Black Bolt's dog.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I want to be the relationship of Black Bolt and Lockjaw.
You want to be Lockbolt?
I want to be Lockbolt. Done. Because I'm Greek, so I speak a lot and I speak loudly, so it would be very difficult to be Black Bolt. Yeah, I would just destroy the plan and just be alone. But if I have Lockjaw, at least I'm happy.
Yeah, there we go.
That's...
I'll be your Lockjaw, buddy. All right. Mark, who do you want to be in this really weird family we just created?
I know. I don't know because
be part of the royal family.
No, yeah. Who's a good one?
You can beat Medusa if you want.
I could be Medusa because it's just all theory, but it's literally like I just remember because I used to have like a Greek mythological like sort of obsession when I was a child, and I always like that's why I remember Medusa's name, even though they rarely appeared in the comics I was reading in Marvel, like, but she stuck out because her hair.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like maybe even Gorgon. Be a badass.
I have no idea.
Be a badass.
I could be a kick-ass Gordon. I was like, I guess I could pick one from the show too.
Gorgon.
I'll just be the pretty guy that showed up and started to school Skye and Raina.
I'm Ethan. Kayla, if you could be any Inhuman, who would it be?
I love this question so much. Who I would pick Crystal. Because she can control the elements, and she's Quicksilver's ex-wife. The ex-wife part would suck, but, dating Quicksilver before, that would be awesome. But purely for the fact that she can control the elements, and she's Medusa's sister. So, Mark, if you're Medusa, then we can be sisters.
That's the spinoff.
That is the spinoff. These the sisters.
Marvel's sister friends.
Inhuman sister friends. Inhuman
It might be
sisterhood.
an animated series for like Saturday morning.
Perfect. This is it.
Well, now that our show has descended into what the hell, this would be a great time to say.
Started by that question.
It started descending once I started talking about Runaways.
That's true.
We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know if you could be an Inhuman, who would you be?
Yeah,
and use that hashtag nerdSHOUT. All right, because we want to hear from you guys. And send us your questions. Send us anything that you want to talk about. We're going to have a Daredevil video coming out where we review the whole thing. Careful, it's going to be spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And if you know the Inhumans well and you think there's a better character I should play, then tell me that too. Educate me on the Inhumans.
Yeah, send Mark some Wikipedia articles. Probably me too.
Tell us if we didn't pick very good choices.
Oh, you guys picked the main four? Way to go.
We just want to be the royal family.
Thanks for being a dog, Kevin. Great. So thank you guys very, very much for tuning in. We want to say thank you to a few of our friends. Thank you, of course, as always, to S.H.I.E.L.D. Radio. You can find them at S.H.I.E.L.D. Radio or at www.helicarrierpodcast.com.
They're awesome.
Keep this conversation going. Thank you to all of our fans. We hit 400 followers on Twitter this week.
Yeah.
Shout! Oh my! He did it early.
If you're going out there, tell your friends, come join us.
Yes, thank you. We've got a ton of cool stuff coming up. We've got Age of Ultron in 2 weeks, guys.
It's insane.
2 weeks. We've got
next
Daredevil's
episode
out.
links in.
Next episode is supposed to link us to Age of Ultron, it looks like. So we've got a ton of huge stuff going on out there. Thank you to all our friends, Ward's Warriors. We thought we were going to have more Ward this week, but we're saving it for The Dirty Half Dozen, which is my favorite friggin' episode title of anything at this point, which is going to be super, super fun. And thank you guys, each and every one of you, who has been out there subscribing and tweeting and commenting and just so much support from you guys. I had a friend of mine who's also on YouTube who commented on, you guys have a really active community. And that's not on us, that's on you.
Yeah.
So thank you guys very much for doing that.
Thank you.
From all of us, from Kayla out there in the ether, wherever she may be, because I'm not going to tell you.
The ether, which is an infinity stone.
Kayla's in an infinity stone. We thank you guys really from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah.
And because of that, we want to make sure that we can hear your nerd shout. Thank you very much. We will see. I was waiting. You already yelled.
I was like, I didn't know we were going to do that.
I felt it. I was like, my particles are moving. We're saying this right now.
We're professionals, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Peace out.
And if you're Medusa, Mark, we would be sister.
Say, sister! What's up, girlfriend?
This was terrible.
Are you going to say that?
I'm really gonna. I'm done.